Okay, now we're talking about Coach Book 9. We're talking about describing similar figures. Now, we learned the other day that congruent means exactly the same shape and size. However, similar means the exact same shape, but not necessarily the same size. So the two are very different. And just remember, think about the large projects we have in my classroom, the flip-flops and the straw and the Kit Kat bar and all that. All those things are the exact same shape of a regular Kit Kat bar or a flip-flop, but they're not the same size. They're much larger. Okay. Number one, which pair of figures is both similar and congruent? Similar and congruent. Well, one thing we've learned is that anytime you have these marks like this, those mean that they're the exact same. Those are congruent. Okay. So what this means is we have a dash here, here, and here, and we have the same dashes over here. That means that these lengths are the exact same length. Same thing right here, we have the exact same angles right here. So it looks like these are both similar and congruent, the exact same shape and the exact same size. So let's circle that one. Okay. Now over here, even though we can look and tell that they're not the exact same size, let's go ahead and just take a look at our markings. This we have one mark. In order for these to have a similar, or sorry, to have the exact same size, they would have to have one mark, but instead they have the two marks. Okay? So even though the angles are the same, even though these are similar, they are not congruent. Okay? So we can eliminate choice B. We can look at choice C and tell that they're not the exact same shape, can't we? Not only because it indicates here that these are right angles with this square, but also because we have different markers over here. Okay, and none of these are equal to this. Therefore, we can go ahead and eliminate C, and we can just look at that one and tell, right? And same thing here. We can almost eyeball this one and tell that they're not the exact same size or shape. But just to make sure, we have 4 markings here, and we have 2 here. Okay, we have 3 markings here and 1 here. Okay, so those are not going to be. They may be congruent, but they are definitely not. Excuse me, they may be similar, but they're definitely not congruent. So we can get rid of choice D. Therefore, our answer is choice A, which are both similar and congruent. Which figure could be similar to the one below? Here we have a length, and we'll just say any unit, let's say it's just 2 feet, 2 feet, and 2 feet. And we also have 60 degrees on all 4 corners. Okay? And we need one that's similar. So it doesn't matter how large our new triangle could be. It could be 1, 1, and 1. But as long as we have 60 degrees in each corner, that's going to be a similar one. Okay? So that's really what we're looking for. Not the length, but the angles. Okay? Well, these angles are 44, 68, and 68. All right, so we can eliminate that one off the top. B, we have a right angle here. Okay, and again, all the angles have to be 60 degrees for it to be similar. All right, so we can get rid of that guy. C, looks like we might have a winner. Even though we have a different size here, 3, this is 60, 60, and 60. So let's just take a look at this one. And here we have one 60-degree angle and 130 and 190. Therefore, that choice is eliminated. C is similar to this figure here because the angles are the same. Which best describes these parallelograms? Okay. Which best describes these parallelograms? Congruent and similar. Okay. Well, again, congruent would mean all the sizes are the same, and that is clearly not the case because you have one mark here, which means all those are equal. So, for example, if this one were 4, okay, in order for it to be congruent, this one would need to be 4 too. And this, since you have one mark here and 2 marks here, that indicates that they are not equal. So they are not congruent and similar. Similar, but not congruent. Okay. Similar, but not congruent. Well, let's tell you what, that may be an option. So let's go ahead and circle that one. Are they congruent but not similar? Well, that's impossible. In order for something to be congruent, it must also be similar. Okay, congruent is the exact same, so we can get rid of that one. Neither congruent nor similar. Neither congruent nor similar. Now, one thing you have to notice here, and I can't quite tell if this is a misprint or not, but these angles, okay, these angles here are all the same. This one is the same with this one, and this one is the same with this one. Okay, but the only problem with that is proportionally these must line up. Okay, so it looks like they are neither congruent nor similar. We'll talk more about that one in class. Number 4, rectangle ABCD is similar to FGHI. Which of the following is true of these two figures? Which of the following is true? And remember, it says similar, not congruent, which means they're the same shape but not the same size. Okay? Which of the following is true? AD corresponds to FI. Okay? That is not true. AD corresponds to FG. All right, well, that may be a possibility. CD corresponds to FI. All right, that may be a possibility as well. CD corresponds to GH. Okay, and that looks like that may be more of a justifiable answer because they're on the same side and they're both going up and down. Okay, so choice is D, if these are in fact similar. Okay. Which of these types of figures are always similar to each other? Pentagons. Pentagons. Okay. Hexagons. Octagons or circles. Well, a pentagon has 5 sides, but they may be different. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so you may have another pentagon that's more like that, and those may not be similar. So that's not the case. Hexagons could have those same odd shapes as well, so may octagons. But circles, if you're talking about a true circle, are 360 degrees all the way around, no matter how big or small they are. Therefore, the answer is D, circles. Those are always, if it's a true circle with a true measure, okay? If it's a true circle, then those are always going to be similar. Triangle LMN is similar to PQR. Okay? These two are similar. Okay? In other words, they may not have the exact same size, but they do have the exact same shape, which means that this angle is equal to this angle. This angle is equal to this angle, and this angle is equal to this angle. Okay? If the measure of M is 110 degrees, okay, what is the measure of Q? Well, if this is equal to that, that means that has to be 110 degrees. Choice C. 7. Which of these types of figures are always similar to each other? This is very similar to the question we had before. Triangles. Well, we have all kinds of triangles. Are those necessarily similar? Okay, no. Squares. Squares are always exactly the same size on all 4 sides, and they make right angles all the way around. By definition, no matter how big they are, by definition, squares are like that. Okay, so squares might be a viable answer. Rectangles. Rectangle could have all kinds of silly shapes, but this one may be really, really long, and this one may be a little bit shorter and fatter. Therefore, that's not a viable answer. And pentagons, the same thing as before. The technical definition of a square is that all 4 sides are the same, and all corners make a 90-degree angle. Therefore, the answer is B. And that is your quiz study guide.